VRC also I took it very lightly that okay, VRC I will be able to manage. Subject that I felt I was most comfortable in was VRC. But the funny thing here is that in exam the toughest section for me was VRC. Means I was literally fumbled when I saw the questions. In VRC, I think the major mistake that I did that I did not go for more and more tests. I solved very less number of tests. So and we don't practice this unless we are going for test series. So individual practicing of those topics is different thing and solving it in a paper is totally different thing which I did not know.
Hello everyone. Today we have with us Rishikesh. He scored 95.33 percentile in CAT 2022 and he received the CAP calls. He converted IIM Amritsar and IIM Jammu as of now. He's a working professional currently working with Sistra India. Coming to his educational background, he pursued B.Tech from SPPU and he also pursued M.Tech from VNIT Nagpur. Today he's with us to share his CAT preparation journey and also how he prepared for the MBA interviews. So, hi Rishikesh, welcome to Cracku interview series and very big congratulations on converting the CAP calls.
Thank you so much for your wishes and I am really glad to be on this platform to share my experience.
So, yeah, firstly, so you have pursued B.Tech and also you went on to pursue M.Tech after that. When did you start your MBA journey? Why did you want to pursue an MBA after an M.Tech and then how you started preparing for CAT? What was your preparation strategy?
Sure. So I will start from the very first question that like every other aspirant, my also aim was to go for an MBA, but like I had heard that there are good amount of points for work experience. So I always planned that I will be completing my B.Tech, and I was also very passionate about civil engineering. So I will be working in the field for 1 or 2 years, and parallelly I will start with my preparation, and then I will join the B school so that I will have at least 2 years of experience when I will be joining. But the things happened in such a way that 2020 was the COVID year. COVID hit India in 2020, and we were not even able to finish our degrees final year. So 3 months before our final exams, the colleges were shut off, and the construction industry as of that time was one of the worst hit industries. So the and I was not actually allowed to go outside to find a job. My parents did not allow me at that time. But fortunately, I had given GATE along with some of my friends, and I had secured enough marks so that I can get an admission to NIT Nagpur. So everyone convinced me that at this time you can just take admission because no one at that time knew how long this pandemic is going to last.
Right.
And colleges had already announced that they will be conducting all their classes and everything online, so you don't have to leave your homes. And in IITs and NITs, we do get a stipend of 12,500 a month. So I thought that it's better that I just join that program and I complete my M.Tech. So I joined it, and I had thought that after first year I will be starting my preparation for CAT because I had back of the mind that I will definitely be ultimately going for CAT. But the schedule there was so rigorous, and all the assignments and projects were so rigorous that I did not find a single minute to even focus on anything else other
Right.
than my M.Tech program.
Exam, right.
So 2 years I completely lost this thing from my mind that I am going to prepare for CAT. But then after my M.Tech, when I joined the job, I thought again that okay, now I have the time to prepare for the exam. And in July 2022, I started my preparation for CAT 2022, which was to be held in November. So this was the reason that I had to pursue M.Tech, and then I started the preparation for CAT. So I had about five in July 2022.
Yeah. So, what was your preparation strategy once you decided to prepare for CAT from July? How many months did how many months did you spend on learning the basics and when did you start taking the mock tests?
Sure. So when I started in July, I first of all analyzed all the three subjects because I had some pre-idea about all the subjects that how what kind of questions. But that time the paper pattern used to be very different. The paper used to be lengthy in 2019 or so when I was actually going through
Yeah,
this
right.
exam pattern. And for 2 years I did not even see. So when I saw that when I saw in 2022 that okay, the exam pattern is changed, so I just took a brief idea about what kind of subjects they are, and I found out that VARC, DILR, and Cons, these three, all of the three subjects are very different from each other, and so every subject has to have some different strategy to prepare, depending on what strengths I have and what are my weaknesses. So what I found is that VRC and quants, I won't be needing to study that much because being an engineer, quant is little easy to solve, especially the geometry and all that parts. Uh, they are means like where if you are waking me up in the night also, I will be able to solve those questions. So my strategy was to give maximum amount of time to DILR because that thing I was not able to figure out when I first time saw this kind of the questions.
Right.
And VRC also I took it very lightly that okay, VRC I will be able to manage. So my first thing that I started with in my CAT preparation was I started all the quant topics. I was just brushing it up, all the quant topics, and I had given about a month of time to go through all the quant topics. Uh, Definitely, I left some of the topics from quants. I did not go for all the topics, but I still went for 70 to 75% of the syllabus of quant. I revised it well when I thought that my concepts are now very much okay, I am able to understand everything, then I thought, okay, I should now start with the practice thing.
Okay. So you said DILR was one section you focused the most on. So
Yes.
how did you start by watching the concept videos, or did you start by solving the mock tests, or what was your approach to DILR?
Sure. So for DILR, I was little scared, so I thought of using more and more number of resources. I used the most simplest approach. I was a little scared about of the subject, so I was planning to use more and maximum number of resources to strengthen that subject. Because everyone among my friends also who had given CAT earlier, they used to say that DILR is the most difficult subject to score in. So that also made me a little skeptical about the subject. So the first resource that I used was the DILR practice books in which they are giving as per the difficulty levels. So I started with the least difficult layer, LOD 1, level of difficulty 1. When I was able to, and at that time when I actually started this, I was taking about 40 50 minutes for the level of difficulty 1 type of questions. So,
Okay.
but when I used to solve them, I was getting some confidence. And also, I use the Cracku YouTube channel extensively for their DILR videos. They are having that 25 topics of DILR, and this kind of videos are there on YouTube. So I use those videos very extensively. The guidance and the way of solving that they are explaining in those videos is very good. That also helped me solve those topics solve those questions quicker, those kind of tricks or the what kind of mindset we should have when we are starting say particular type of DLR sets. Like there are multiple types like puzzles and setting arrangements and all. There are various different types. So data sufficiency and all. So with the help of those videos, I was able to means enhance my time what I was taking for solving and also the accuracy level. So then slowly I increased the level from LOD 1 to LOD 2, and by the time of September or October, because as I was giving most amount of time to this same subject, by the time of October I was able to solve the LOD 3 problems also with around 80 85 90% of accuracy, and that too in 20 25 minutes one particular set. So Cracku's resources helped me extensively, and also the practice books for DILR. And so the result was that I scored 99.06 percentile in DILR, which was my best among all the three subjects.
Wonderful. And yeah, now among the three sections, what was the toughest section for you? And so how did you handle that section? So you said you majorly focused on DILR. So what about the other sections? Yeah.
So like I was little scared of DLR, so I practiced it more and more. And the subject that I felt I was most comfortable in was VARC. But the funny thing here is that in exam, the toughest section for me was VARC. Means I was literally fumbled when I saw the questions. I was not able to get a clear answer of that, and and the time was running by. So in VRC, I think the major mistake that I did that I did not go for more and more tests. I solved very less number of tests. So, and I just focused on individual problems when I was practicing for VRC, and I practiced the least for VRC, considering that I would be able to solve it, but that was not the case. So in exam, my toughest section was VRC. The thing is that when we are practicing for VRC, we practice individual type of questions, which is very different than the scenario we face in the examination. In examination, we are asked to solve different types of questions altogether. There are passages, there are some other type of questions from verbal ability, and we
Yeah.
don't practice this unless we are going for test series. So individual practicing of those topics is different thing, and solving it in a paper is totally different thing, which I did not know. This I experienced for the first time when I was giving the paper, and that's the reason I've actually scored the least in VARC. As as compared to other two sections. Not just questions and answers, tests of VARC. That is very important. That you get a gist of solving that different types of questions in 40 minutes, 40 minutes of time. That is very important for VARC, I think so.
Now moving on to the personal interviews. So can you
Yes.
tell us CAP selection process briefly, and also how you prepared for each stage of the interviews,
Sure, sure,
of
sure.
the
I will
CAP
be
round?
glad to. Yes. So basically, the selection process of all the new and baby IIMs is that they will be shortlisting you based on your percentile. They will be
Okay.
setting a threshold, and above that, they will be selecting you. And after the interview, they will be having their procedure. They will be calculating a composite score, and based on that, you will be getting your calls. So I actually appeared for 4 to 5 interviews total in total. One was the CAP interview, which encompasses all the 9 IIMs. Then there was IIM Rohtak, then IIM Amritsar, IIM Vishakhapatnam. These are the interviews that I attended. Unfortunately, I could not attend IIM Nagpur's interview because apparently I missed the deadline to submit the form, so that I was not able to attend. But other 4 interviews I uh, attended.
Yeah, coming to the specific interview experiences. So how were the interview experiences, and what kind of
Our
questions were asked, and were there any surprising questions, or and if yes, how did
Sure,
you handle such kind of tricky questions?
sure. So the I will be going sequentially that because every interview was little different in its respects. The first interview that I appeared was IIM Rohtak's, and IIM Rohtak's interview was like I had seen from other peers that what kind of questions are being asked, and what I came to know is they will be asking questions based on their will. They will be not letting you drive the interview. So they asked me first question, that is, tell me about yourself. That was a standard question, and I had prepared pretty good answer for that standard answer. After that, they just asked me this one question was common to me in all the interviews, that why I'm pursuing or why I'm planning to pursue MBA after I already pursued M.Tech. And the reason was same that I mentioned earlier in this interview, that that was a strategic decision taken at that time by me, and the answer was pretty much acceptable to them as well. Uh, then again, in IIM Rohtak's interview, they did not ask me any technical question based on my background, educational background. They asked me all the questions regarding some mathematical formulas and graphs, and some general GK questions based on um, the. There is a round called there is a round that in which we get 2 minutes to speak about a topic, and we are asked to
Okay.
speak about it. So based
In
on my answer,
IM,
Rohtak.
so this happens as a part of the interview.
Yeah, this happens as a part of inter. They will be giving us a topic, and they'll give us some time, 1 minute or 1.5 minute, and we have to speak on that
Okay.
topic for 2 minutes.
Okay,
So
extempore, like,
extempore round. Yes, I was just trying to recall that word, extempore round. So in Rohtak there is this round, extempore round, and based on the answer that I gave for their topic, they asked me some of the questions related to it, like what about industrial revolution and all. So that was a very different interview experience as compared to other 3 interviews that I appeared. But this interview also went pretty well. The next interview was CAP interview, and I prepared little bit much for CAP interview. And for CAP, my major preparation involved that I'm little weak in geography, so I went for all the state capitals and all. I studied all these things, some historical things about my native place and my state, Maharashtra. So for CAP interview, I prepared very much about geography and some historical facts about Maharashtra, some environmental and geographical facts also about my native place. And during the interview, I found that 60 to 70% of my interview was focused on my technical background, educational background. And being at M.Tech in the in engineering, I was able to answer almost all the questions in CAP interview. And my interview went for about 27 to 28 minutes, which is pretty lengthy as compared to other CAP aspirants interviews. So it was very long, and majority of the interview was focused on the technical questions. They did not means at least for the first 20 minutes they did not ask me any question other than my domain questions, and I was able to
okay,
answer them pretty well. They also asked me regarding my whether I am working on the same profession currently. I said yes, definitely I'm working in the same profession. So they also asked me regarding my job, what I'm doing and what kind of work I do. So this interview was very much focused on my technicals. And in the second part of the video, they asked me regarding which type of branch I want to select in my MBA. Second part of the interview, and then they started asking about some other type questions like what kind of branch you want to select in MBA. So that I answered. They asked me some questions regarding marketing and all. So I was able to answer one of them, not all of them. And they also asked me some questions regarding the which IIM is located in which state. So I answered almost all of them correct. Only one I missed. IIM Sirmur. I gave a wrong answer about it. Yeah. So that was a good experience for interview in which they had a mix of technical and non-technical, but majority it was focused on technical. And being a M.Tech, this really helped me in giving all those answers. So technicals was not an issue at all. So I was actually hoping they would ask me more and more on the same topic. So third interview that I gave was Amritsar interview. I am Amritsar, which was the best interview I gave so far. And this interview was 100% focused on technicals. They did not ask a single question of anything else. Means they asked me about my subjects, technical knowledge, and how I am planning to implement that knowledge in the world. They gave me some scenarios. If this happens like this, so what will be your approach? So 100% the questions were focused on engineering. And so I gave literally 100% of the answers, and all of them were correct, I know. And the result is I converted I am Amritsar in the very first round. And last was I am Vishakhapatnam. That interview was the means weakest interview I gave because the
Okay.
questions were technically all of them were based on some or the other field of MBA, which I
Okay.
had not studied much about which, and so I was only able to give answer about 50% of the questions. Every alternate question I was like, no, I have no idea about this question. I will definitely study about it. So that was the weakest interview I gave, but Amritsar's was the best, which was totally technical.
Right. Yeah. Finally, what is that advice that you would like to give to the future CAT aspirants or MBA aspirants?
Sure. So for CAT aspirants, I would like to give the advice that make a strategy which involves all type of practices, not just problems or not just test series or not just concepts. Try to make a strategy which involves all of them and complements each and every other aspect. Like if you are studying concepts, right at that time you go with the problems, because if we do like this, that we study all the concepts first and then go for questions, this doesn't sink in well. So it's better if you just study the concept, study the solve the problems. And it is very essential that you go for test series. Solve at least 2 or 3 test series. It's very important. If you are a working professional, you should be able to manage the time in slots. Like my strategy was, I used to give one test of DILR every morning. At least 2 or 3
Okay.
days a week, I was giving test of DILR in the morning before I go to office. And after coming, I used to study one subject a day. I used to select one topic and I used to study that. So in this way you can manage the time. For working professionals, it's very difficult to manage the time when you are already working in some other field, and then to divert your mind to CAT preparation, it is a tedious job. So you need to have slots, and morning time is the best time to give test series. You can just 40
Yeah.
minutes. One subject test takes only 40 minutes, so you can just take it like an exercise workout. So just give one test every morning and then practice some other. If you can take the same test, if the test doesn't go well, you can analyze the test at night. Or if it goes well, you can just study for the topic which you want to give the test on the next morning, and you can prepare it this way. So strategy is very important. If you are having limited time to study, strategy plays a very important role in preparation.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Rishikesh. You gave some very valuable tips, and these tips will definitely be helpful for the future CAT aspirants. And thanks a lot. And we wish you all the very best for your MBA journey.
Thank you so much, and it really felt great to be with you discussing all those things. Thank you so much for inviting me on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.